learning how to perform spun hematocrits. Spun hematocrits is a manual method. It's also called the Adams method or the Clay Adams method. And we're going to be working, don't make me laugh, with anticoagulated whole blood in EDTA. So we've got our whole blood that we're going to be working with. You guys are going to do 5 patients, okay? You can share the blood at your table because we don't have enough blood for each of you to do your own 5 specimens because I think we'd run out by the end of the day. But so you can share. So you're going to do your spun crits first, and for each specimen you have, you're going to run it in duplicate. So you're going to have 5 tubes of blood, but 10 crit tubes total, okay? So I'm going to get ready here. I got my gloves, I got my safety glasses on, I've got my Kim wipes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my crit tubes, and you can kind of like salt shaker them out. So you want to go ahead and get a couple of crit tubes out. The blue lines on it just means that it's a plain crit tube. It doesn't have any anticoagulant in it. You got a couple different kinds here. We've got that kind. We've got the heparinized crit tubes that have a red line on it, so you know it's got heparin in it. Okay? So since we're working with already anticoagulated blood, we want to use the plain blue tops, or you guys can try these called clear crit. They're already sealed for you. So if you look at these, see at the end it has the crit that's already sealed with the clay. So what end are you going to fill from? This end. Yeah. Try to fill from this end, you're not going to get very far at all. So try a couple of different tubes, see how you like them. I'll go ahead and demonstrate with the blue top tubes today, or the blue line tubes. And I just wanted to show you that in the past these used to be glass, just glass, and they were very fragile and they would break. But today they're lined with plastic or mylar coated, and you can break them and make animal shapes out of them, whatever you want to do, but you're not going to damage yourself. You're not going to get stuck from it. So when you're done with your tubes today, at the very end of the lab, don't throw your tubes away because you might want to reread them. Okay? These just get disposed of in the biohazard. Okay? So we're ready to go. I'm going to get my clay out here, and I'll move this. And the clay is just, it's kind of like Play-Doh. That's just our sealer at the end of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up my specimen. Of course, I'm going to record the ID number on my sheet, and I'm going to mix it. Now, you guys have mixers at your table or rockers at your table that you can turn on and just keep your bloods on here on the rocker. You can grab extra racks up above over the sink to use, so you're not having to reach across everybody on the table. Okay. So I'm using my patented figure 8 mixing technique. I'm going to do this about 20 times.
If we use the rocker, how long do we do it for?
Just a couple minutes is a good mix. And then I'm going to take a Kim wipe, and I'm going to cover the top of the tube, and I'm going to use that to pull the tube off. Okay. So I've got that off. Go ahead and put your cap down. Grab your first tube, and what you're going to do is try and tilt the tube as horizontal as you can. I mean, don't over tilt because you'll dribble blood, and then try and keep your crit tube as horizontal as you can. And what you're going to do is take the end of the crit tube, it doesn't matter which one on the ones that aren't self-sealed, and just touch the end of the crit tube to the surface tension of the blood. And you want to fill it about 3/4 full. Okay? Plug your finger over the one end so you don't dribble it out, and then take your Kim wipe and wipe the outside surface of the tube. You don't want to go into the tube of blood, just touch the tip of the blood. Okay? And then you're going to seal it with the clay. Okay? While you still hold the tube on your finger on the top of the tube. Okay, I've filled it a little bit more than 3/4 full. The reason for filling it around 3/4 full is for ease of reading on the readers that I'm going to show you. So notice that the sealer has numbers on it. Okay, it's really, really hard to write an ID number on these little tiny tubes, and you can't put tape around it because they need to go in a centrifuge. So you have to come up with some means of not mixing your specimens up, okay, if you're running more at a time. So a good way to do that is to use the numbers on the clay sealer and say, okay, I have put ID number 1050893 in position 1 on my clay sealer. Okay. So I'm going to put the cap back on. I'm going to mix it up again. Okay, it's going to be pretty well mixed. Use my chem wipe, take the cap off, get my second one ready to go. Two on each. Because it's a manual method and there's more ways that you can muck it up, we want to make sure that we're doing it correctly. So your goal for today will be to have these two specimens match within each other plus or minus 1. So if I get a reading of, say, 40 on this one, what does this one have to be in order to be considered good? Yeah, 39 to 41. And you're going to notice on these readers that the lines are very, very close together. Okay, so it's very hard to get closer than a whole number. So if you're using this reader in particular, you're going to probably be reading 40, 39, 41. The other readers that we have, this one is my favorite one. It's called the spiral crit, and I'll show you how to read the specimen when we get it out of the centrifuge. But it works on a rotating wheel. You could maybe get to 36.5 on this one, but you're not going to get much closer than that. Then we have these metal spiral wheels, and I'll show you how to read these. These are good. These typically will run a little bit lower than this one and this one. Okay, so try them out, see which one you like. You're going to run your 5 specimens. Then what we're going to do is record your values on the sheet for you, and then you're going to run a CBC. And we're going to see how you compare to the auto crit. So your goal is you want to be plus or minus 3 from the auto crit. Okay. Guess what happens if you don't match plus or minus 1 on your duplicates? Do it again. Okay, if you have bubbles in your crit tube, what do? Do it again. Okay. If you don't match the auto crit plus or minus 3, or reread it before you do it again. Pick another reader. Call us over. We'll help you make sure you're reading it correctly. I'm going to load up the centrifuge now. You guys are going to have more than one specimen. So when you come over to the centrifuge, I'm going to use this one. The brake on this one doesn't work, so it's fine, but it just takes a while to slow down. I'm going to come over to this one, and if you notice, okay, there's a rubber ring around the outside. You want to make sure that your clay is up against the rubber ring, okay? And these are numbered, okay? So you're going to have to, somewhere on your sheet, identify where you put your patient. So you want to balance your centrifuge. So if I put a specimen in, say, number 2, I'm going to go directly opposite with its duplicate and put 1 in number 2 and 1 in number 13. Okay. This is the safety latch on this. Okay. It's a good idea to keep it there. Let me move this up a little bit. Because what happens if you don't use the safety latch is your tubes spin all out and they break and they spin your blood all out and then you have problems. So if you keep your safety latch there, it's kind of hard to close it without making sure your safety latch is on.